Hey guys, welcome back to She's All Business. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast last week. Last week we had a guest, Eliza Yerry, who is a stylist and also is a lead stylist currently for Kelly Clarkson for her talk show. And that was such a great experience. So let's get into it for this week. If you watched last week's episode, you kind of heard a little bit about that I met Eliza my freshman year at my first ever internship that ended up being for a celebrity stylist when I knew nothing about being a celebrity stylist. And I talked about this in past episodes, but I didn't understand what it was. I was just like, I'm here for the experience. I just need to start working. I needed to start networking. And I guess my boss and her assistant had to go on a trip for a shoot they were styling. So I think it was like 2 or 3 days. I can't really remember. But Eliza was friends with my boss at the time, and she came in and watched over the office for those days that they were gone. And I ended up being able to work with her one of those days, and it was just me and her in the office. And, you know, we didn't talk too much, but we got to know each other a little bit. And it was more about I was just getting the work done, and it just left a good impression, I think. I ended up applying to some internships and I didn't hear back. And then when I reached out, they were like, oh, it went to somebody else, blah, blah, blah. So last minute, I kind of decided to apply to another celebrity stylist that knew my old boss. So I thought, okay, I have a connection here that could be an easy in. And it was. I mean, essentially, before I had my phone call interview, I was put on an email chain with the stylist and some of her assistants, and Eliza ended up being on that email chain. But I texted her and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were working for this stylist. I'm, having a phone call interview with her. You're on the email chain with me. And she's like, oh my gosh, let me tell this stylist, how good you are and blah, blah, blah. And that really even pushed it even further, that it helped me because she already had a great relationship with the stylist that I was trying to work for. So overall, I'm just very grateful to her. And I'm so grateful that she was able to come on the podcast and support me and really trying to get this podcast out there. Her story is just really amazing. She's done so many things. She's worked for so many people. And now she has her own styling brand, and she's done so much. And I think another thing that was really important that she talked about was that 3-year gap in between graduating and getting her first full-time job, which 3 years is a long time. If we put into perspective, in the moment, that is a long time, especially when you're a post-grad, trying to figure out what your purpose is, what you're going to do, how are you going to make money. Also, a lot of us have to pay off loans. We went to expensive schools, especially if you're here in the city. How are we going to make up for the money we spent for school, get a job, prove that going to fashion or art school was worth it? For Eliza, she didn't go to fashion school. She went to Syracuse. But she had that 3-year period where she was just doing freelance styling. But that time for her was really discouraging because she couldn't find something that was sticking. She was just working, doing the jobs that she could to make money. She said living on her sister's couch when she worked in the city so she could be here. And then eventually, once she got that job as an assistant more full time in 2015, things started to change for her. 6 years after she graduated college, she started her own stylist brand. And she's continuing to do that today, but she is also now, a lead stylist for Kelly Clarkson. She works under a creative director, but her vision is still being seen in Kelly's clothes, and that's amazing. And she had no idea where it was going to go at the start of this. She just was interested in fashion, and her school had a fashion minor, and she just started interning. Eliza was talking about, how interns make mistakes, and that's okay. And that learning from your mistakes is the most important thing, and that you should be making mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Making mistakes is actually a good thing for you, so you can learn and take what you learn and adapt it in a new way going forward. You're never going to succeed if you don't make mistakes, because how are you going to learn anything? I would like to think of myself as a good intern, hopefully. I don't know. But I've made so many mistakes, and I think a really great thing about Eliza is she's one of the people that I've worked for that has always been so positive about mistakes. Like, not like, oh, yay, you made a mistake, but like, don't worry about it. Like, that's fine. Next time, just do this. But like, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. A lot of people, because, interns are working for them to make their lives easier, when an intern makes a mistake, it's more like, oh, like, come on, like, you got to get it together. At least for me, like, I would take that so personally. But another thing to keep in mind is, like, if somebody reacts that way, it's just because, it was a mistake. It happened. It kind of ruined like a minute of their life. But within the next minute or two, they're going to forget all about it. But I think a really great thing about Eliza is that she never reacts in a negative way. She's always just like, it's fine, don't worry about it. Next time, just do this. Like, don't worry. Like, one time I did something like this, or one time I did XYZ, but like, it's fine. I made it. I woke up the next day. It's okay. And that's like such a great mentality to have, especially in somebody that's a supervisor, because it really shows that they care about how you feel and that you don't internalize things. And I mean, I know for me, like, I, to this day, still think about almost every single mistake that I have made on the job. Like, I can come up with so many examples right now. We had a show for my one internship. We had a show 2 days from now. We were so ahead of schedule, I decided to pack everything up in garment bags and label them and have them organized. And because I wanted to like show them that, we're ahead of schedule. I'm on top of it. We're going to get it prepared. It's all together. So day of, there's no issue. In my mind, I just kind of jumped the gun and I just was like, this is a good idea. But then like an hour later, my supervisor was like, why did we bag these up? Like, what's going on? They're going to get wrinkled. We need to still look at them, blah, blah, blah. And I just like didn't even like realize that when I was doing it. Like, that wasn't where my mind was at. My mind was like, oh, let me make this easier for them. They're going to be so happy that it's all organized and together. And I really wanted to make their lives easier. But in reality, I made it harder for that 5 minutes because they were trying to look at them and they were in garment bags. So I was like, oh shoot, I made a mistake. I was like, I take responsibility for it. No worries. I didn't handle it like that. I mean, I did take responsibility for it, but I was like so scared. I was like, oh my God, I made a mistake. What am I doing with my life? Oh my gosh, super internalizing it. I mean, that's just like the type of person I am. But I was like, I'm so sorry. Just give me a couple minutes. I'll get them all unbagged and they'll be good for you. And I did say that, and I did try to handle it very professionally. After kind of that whole fiasco, after what they needed to do was done, I went up to my supervisor and was like, hey, I just want to apologize. I wasn't thinking about right now. I was thinking ahead, and I kind of jumped the gun on that, trying to make it better. And they totally understood where I was coming from. They're like, we understand where you're coming from. You're trying to get this done, and totally get it. You just kind of jumped the ball a little bit, and it's not a big deal. But like, they were just like, next time, maybe just ask us prior instead of trying to do something without asking. So it's kind of like finding that balance. I mean, Eliza talked about like, what do you do if you make a mistake? And or like, what advice can you give to interns? And it's like, oh yeah, use the resources around you, do what you can without asking questions, which is what I thought I was trying to do. But then in reality, it was like, okay, well, maybe this is something I need to ask a question for. So it's like finding that balance, and it's hard to know until you're in it, and you might not know, and you might make a mistake, like just like how I made a mistake. Taking every opportunity and trying to learn from it. I mean, personally, like, I would still internalize somebody being rude to me about a mistake I made, and I would take it really, really personally. But after reflecting on it, after a couple weeks, I'd be like, you know what? I learned that I don't want to act like that ever to people if I end up getting to a higher position. Also, I don't want to work for somebody that treat subordinates like that. Taking every negative thing that happens, whether it's negative towards you, you made it negative, or it's just a negative situation overall, taking that and picking apart what happened and saying, okay, well, this happened and that's okay, but I learned this from that. So I'm so grateful for that experience, even though looking back, it was really hard in the moment, because moving forward, I can take that as a learning lesson and apply it to my life. I'm super, super grateful to Eliza for supporting me. Again, she's so busy. She's been a mentor for forever, and I'm just really grateful to have her in my life. I'm so grateful that she was here with me. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I mean, we're already into the new year a little bit, but I'm looking forward to this new year with the podcast. Since I am home, my next couple episodes will be with some local people from Pennsylvania, where I'm from. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something from our guest last week. I hope you guys felt engaged today. I'm so grateful to all of you who are listening. It means so, so much to me. This is just like my baby, this podcast, and it's such a passion of mine. I mean, I'm in journalism and in fashion. So I feel like this is like a perfect way to merge the two things together. And yeah, I mean, I'm learning every day. I'm not perfect at it. I mean, definitely not. But I'm trying, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. And if you have any suggestions for how to make the podcast more engaging, maybe social media advice, or just like what you would be interested in learning about, or a guest that you're interested in hearing from, please reach out to me on She's All Business Pod's Instagram, my email, which is connected to my Instagram, my personal Instagram. Please feel free. But yeah, thank you all so much, and I will see you next week. Bye.